But human consciousness, of course, is not restricted just to memory. It begins with memory, but there are so many other aspects that could be included that that make human consciousness what you call the core of this mankind, this humanity that has kind of existed in us. Flourished, I don't think we have flourished, so I wouldn't call that we have flourished, but we have existed, right? That's our achievement, that we have existed. We could be considered as official existence for all of us, like we officially exist because we think, and we have a memory, and we anticipate the future. That's all that's we've clearly done. How successful we are as a group is a very debatable question, but of course we don't have any known other were like anyone else with whom we could compare ourselves. So we are the only ones that we know, right? So there's no benchmark for us to be compared with. But anyways, I don't know what the point was. I don't care. The point is that there is no point. That's the point, I guess. But my point is that when an individual, a random stranger comes in front of me, for a moment I think this poor guy, this poor woman, this poor little child, this poor old man, old woman, whatever, this poor transgender, whatever. One day they're no longer gonna exist, and they're not gonna know about it. Everyone around them, some of them would miss them for a few days. After that, they would move on. That's not the problem. My problem is not about people not caring about people. Like, doesn't matter. The problem is that individual cannot care about himself. That individual won't know that he's no longer there. And that is what the problem is. That's what makes everything pointless, right? But then we see collectively, collectively, the person existed for some time and he had made some contribution when he was alive or she was alive. And that contribution might stay on, like it might serve a purpose for someone else's contribution. We could be we could be linked to each other with a chain in that sense. But again, like we would try to make a sense of this, that okay, now it feels meaningful. And one day this whole chain is gonna just evaporate in thin air or whatever. This whole chain is also gonna go. Then what? Then how will it matter, right? Yes, this chain is gonna grow. It whatever things will happen. Things will be invented, discovered, modified. AI would be used. Whatever bullshit will happen that we see and imagine in science fiction and all that stuff. But eventually, there will be a point where all of this will go away. Like then, it will mount to nothing. That's the problem, right? Unless we get some other answers, which I don't believe we ever will, and I don't believe anyone else will as well. Whatever technology is gonna do, technology is never gonna change this. Like no matter what we can imagine through science fiction, I don't think any of that shit will happen. But even if it does happen, let's say it's gonna be their victory. Technology might stay longer than us. That is something that I would say is practically possible, and it might have some kind of a parallel consciousness, which again would not have any meaning. Like it won't be the continuation of our consciousness. It won't be part of our chain. That's that's my problem. Like our chain has to disappear someday, and if at all AI makes it after that, they would have their own change for which I don't care, and none of us should care. And like maybe that AI will be recording this, talking about this, whatever millions and millions of years ago, years later. But that would be important to them, right? It doesn't change anything about our lives. our collective lives, our individual lives.